So here's 22 iPhone tips for 2022. There's some bonus ones in the middle which I'm not counting, and at the end there's a very powerful tip that if used incorrectly could have devastating effects. So if you do decide to use that one, in the words of Shaggy, it wasn't me. It was Apple, they created it, so you can blame them. Anyway, here's tip number one. So I don't know about you guys, but I tend to have my mute switch on all the time. I prefer to have the vibration instead of the ringtone. And this little tip here is really gonna help you if you're like me. Check this out. Go into your phone book, select a contact. For example, here I've got my work phone. What I can now do is go to edit the top corner here. And where it says ringtone is set to default, go in there. And what we can actually do is create a custom vibration pattern. So right now it's default, but in here we can create a new one which is specific to this contact. So we go create new vibration, and what I'm going to do is create Beethoven's Symphony number 5. Check this out. Now once that's done, we can save it, and we can even play it back to make sure it's right. But this is a pattern that I will associate with that contact. Then we hit save, and we can call it Symphony number 5, hit save. Now that is assigned to my work phone. So whenever my work phone calls this phone, it will vibrate in that pattern. You can create as many of these as you want for specific contacts. For example, if you've got a friend that always asks you for favors, you could use the Mission Impossible vibration pattern. That's what I did. Okay, so when it comes to text messages and writing anything in general on your phone, do you have specific terms that you use all the time? Because if you do, this tip is going to be super useful for you. So we go to settings, we go to general, we go to keyboard, and then here we can click on text replacements. So you can create little shortcuts for sentences. For example, if I hit the plus here, I can add, get me some beers, please. And then I can create the shortcut for that. So let's say GMS. That's probably not the best one, but we can hit save. And now whenever I type GMS in a text message or in any app, it will give me the option to fill that sentence without having to type the whole thing out. That is a super useful feature, and you can create a ton of these and essentially streamline your text responses. So this next tip is a productivity one, and it's going to make your life easier, and it's important you know how to do it. So check this out. Let's say you've got a document and it's got like a code on it which you're going to need to use on your phone to fill out various forms and stuff. What you can now do with the iPhone is actually use the camera, take a photo of what it is, and then once it's in your photo gallery, you can actually take text from the photo and copy and paste it into apps and stuff like this. So you can see I've got the photo here, and it's not even perfectly squared up, but I can hit this little icon here, and what that will do is copy all of the text on the page. But if we want to, we can even just select parts of the text that we want. So for example, if I just want the reservation code that's on this document, I can literally do that, copy that, and now I can paste it into my web browser, my documents, wherever I want, and keep that. That is such a useful tool on the iPhone. So if you deal with lots of paperwork on a daily basis, and when I say paperwork, I mean actual pieces of paper, this tip is going to be really useful for you. So check this out. The Notes app, there's a reason why I have it on the home screen, because if you hold your finger down on it, there's a bunch of really useful things you can do here. So if you go to scan document, what we can actually do is use the camera to scan paperwork and create a PDF of the paperwork. So you now have a digital version, so you don't have to carry around loads of bits of paper. And trust me, this is a big headache, especially when you go out of the country and you need to carry 100 bits of paper that say you've had various vaccinations and tests and all this kind of stuff. You can use this feature, hold your finger down on Notes, go to scan documents, turn them into PDFs, and then keep them on your phone in a nice tidy file. So this tip could be very useful for various reasons, but check this out. It's important you know how to do this. You can actually screenshot an entire web page in one long screenshot, and it's easy to do. So do a screenshot like you normally would with the up, volume, and the power button. Then click on the screenshot here, and then at the top, you can see full page. Now this will only work in Safari. That's why it's important to use Safari, but you can actually then scroll down the entire screenshot and even highlight certain things that you want. For example, let's say, right, I need one of these. Let's scroll down a bit more. I'll have one of those. One of those. And you can see how this could be incredibly useful for you. Definitely watch this video, by the way, guys. Anyway, once you've done that, hit done. You can save it as a PDF document, and this is a very handy tool. So this is a really handy tip when you're browsing the internet using Safari. So you can see this link right here. If I click that now, it will forward to that address, so we'll essentially lose the page that we're on. What you can do if you don't want to lose the page you're on and open in a new tab, there's a really easy way to do it. You can just do a 2-finger tap on the link. That will then open the next page in a new tab, so you don't have to lose what you were doing previously. I think that's a really useful tip. So this tip is another productivity one, and it's going to be super useful for any of you guys out there who have to sign documents all the time. For example, you get sent stuff from work or contracts and agreements and all this kind of stuff. Some people will literally print it out, sign it, and then take a photo and send it back. That is really long. I personally use Adobe Sign, but even that can be a bit tricky sometimes. That's why this tip is super useful. So check this out. Imagine this is your document. You need to sign it. All you need to do on an iPhone is screenshot the document, as you normally would with the up volume and the power button. Bring that up, just tap on it there, and see this little plus button here in the bottom corner. Hit that, and then here where it says signature, click that. You can create your signature on the iPhone, and then all you do is just drag it onto the document. There we go, document is now signed. So once you've done that, you can now print it, you can save it to files, you can send it to a contact, you can use AirDrop to send it to one of your other computers. This probably is the easiest way to sign a document. I love this feature. So here's another quick tip when it comes to your notes. So let's say you've got some important information here on your notepad. The little 3 dots at the top right corner, you click that, you can actually lock these documents so that they will require a specific password in order to get into them. So that could be PIN numbers, passwords for websites, whatever you want. But if you forget the password for this and you've got all your passwords for your websites in there, then it kind of defeats the purpose. But it's still a great little tool to use from time to time. Definitely use this. You can even set up a little hint reminder for yourself. And yeah, this is a good one. So some of you might know this, some of you might not. But when you download apps onto your iPhone, sometimes by default, they'll be tracking your activity across other apps. And you can actually take control back from these apps whenever you want. And it's important you do it. And in fact, it probably should be one of the first things you do when you get one of these phones. But anyway, go to settings. Here, you want to go to privacy. And here where it says tracking at the top, go to this. And you can see I've got all of mine switched off, but there was a bunch of them tracking me unnecessarily. The reason they will do this is because they want to try and sell stuff to you when you come back to their app based on what you've been doing elsewhere. But I do recommend switch all of these off unless it's absolutely necessary. So when it comes to backgrounding apps, wouldn't it be nice if there was a way to close them all down in one go? Unfortunately, Apple don't let you do it, but you can do it more quickly with this method. So check this out, swipe halfway up. You've got all your apps here in the background. Now, what you can actually do is use 3 fingers and actually click on all 3 and swipe them all away at the same time. And you can even do it with 4 fingers, but that's very tricky. But there you go, that's a way of clearing backgrounding apps without having to do them one by one. So going back to the Notes app, again, I have to emphasize this might be the most powerful tool to have on your home screen. But open your Notes, create a document, and you see the little flashing cursor here. If you hold your finger down on that or just tap it, see the little icon in the middle, which is like a little square with some lines in the middle. Tap that. Now you can get your document and actually use the camera to convert the text from the document into digital format. That is an awesome feature. So check this one out. Some of you might know about this, some of you might not. Let's say you've got a page full of text and you need to select everything and you don't have to hold your finger down and drag right across all of the text. There is a quick way to select everything, and that is just triple tapping on any of the words and then everything will be selected. The other cool thing you can do here is if you want to, you can actually cut this by doing a 3-finger pinch, and then if you want to paste it somewhere else, you do an outward 3-finger pinch and it will paste it somewhere else. And you can do this as many times as you want, like so. So this tip's going to be particularly useful for any of you guys out there who have the iPhone Pro Max, because they're so wide, the keyboard is incredibly wide, and sometimes it can be hard to hit some of the keys. But check this out, there is a one-handed mode that works either left-handed or right-handed, and this is how you access it. So see the little globe icon here, hold your finger down on that. At the bottom, you have these icons. If you want to shuffle it to the right, you can do that. If you want to shuffle it to the left, you can do that. And once you've actually used this once, whenever you tap this button, it will actually quick access that more compressed keyboard on that side. So this tip is very useful to know. Let's say you've made a spelling mistake somewhere in a document and you need to correct one letter within a word. You can, of course, try and highlight that word and then type it out again from scratch. But actually what you could do is use the mouse bar here, hold your finger down on it, and actually one by one go across the word, find the spelling mistake, and then delete the letter and then correct it that way without having to retype everything. That is a great feature. Use the spacebar as a mouse. So that was the first bonus tip. Here's another one. If you swipe down, go to calculator. The calculator is pretty standard. You can just key numbers as normal, but you can also go back by swiping like this. But if you want to get real scientific with this calculator, all you need to do is turn it sideways and then look how many more controls you have. So if you need a scientific calculator, you got one. So this next one is another bonus, and this has been super useful for me. Did you know your phone can be used as a spirit level? Go to the Measure app, open that, and then here at the bottom you've got level, and you now have a really good spirit level. You can place your phone on stuff. My table is actually 1 degree off. That's interesting. And it will help you level things up, and you can even use it on its side as well. Super handy. Very useful tool. And here's another really useful bonus tip. So let's say you're on YouTube or Instagram or Facebook or anything, and you swipe. You're so far down the page now, in order to get back to the top, you're gonna have to swipe all the way back up. But check this out, if you wanna get back to the top on any app at all you need to do is tap the time, and it will take you all the way back. That is universal on the iPhone. So tap the time to get back to the top. So here's another bonus tip. Go into settings, go to accessibility, and then scroll to the bottom and we have back tap. Make sure this is switched on. Once this is switched on, you can customize what a double tap and a triple tap on the back of the device will do. So I've got mine set up as double tap for camera. You see there, 2 taps brings up the camera, and triple tap will bring up the control center. This is a super useful shortcut, and actually I thought this was going to go off by accident all the time, but actually it doesn't. It's very useful, and I do recommend you use this. So check this out. Here's a little camera trick for you. In the camera app, did you know you could actually burst shoot? So if you're taking photos of fast moving sports or motor cars racing around a track or something, if you swipe to the left on the shutter button, it actually does continuous shooting. Then once you've got your continuous shot, you can actually go back through them and choose the best one that you want to keep and discard the rest. So having an embarrassing photo on your phone can be like a thorn in your side. So here's a little trick to hide your pictures. So all you need to do here is hit the little share button, and then what you can do is if you scroll down, you'll see the option to hide. Now that photo will be hidden, but in order to make it fully hidden, you need to go to your settings, go to your Photos app, and turn off the hidden album. Now, in order to make those pictures visible again, you have to switch back on the hidden album, then go back to your Photos app, and then it will be there. So all you need to do is choose which pictures you want to hide, turn this off, and you're good to go. When you want to access them again, switch that back on. It will be visible in your Photos app. Okay, here's a little tip for you guys. If you want to move a bunch of apps all in one go without having to drag them one by one, you can do it. All you need to do, hold your finger down on the app, keep holding it down until everything starts to wiggle. Then you can start selecting other apps that you want to move together with that one app. So we can take everything from this page and we can drag it all onto a new page, and there we go. We moved all of the apps in one move. That's a useful trick. So here's a little iMessage trick that you might not know about. If you want to, you can actually send an animation along with your message. So invisible ink, gentle, loud, and slam. These will add the effects to the messages when the person on the other side receives them. And then that's the little bubble animation there. But you can also do a full screen animation as well. So we've got echo, and that will make everything kind of take up the whole screen. So if you want to get your message across in a more inventive way, you can do it. And I must say, I really do like these effects. And did you know you can send handwritten messages to people on iPhone if you want to? It's really easy to do. All you do is turn the phone sideways, and then once you've done that, in the bottom right corner you see this little character here. Tap that, and now you can write whatever you want. There's even pre-programmed ones, and once you write something yourself, it'll actually save that as well. So do you know anybody that always phones you on a private number to try and catch you off guard? Well, you can stop that from happening by blocking withheld numbers, and it's super easy to do. Go to your settings page, go to phone, scroll down, and you'll see this, silence unknown callers. Switch this on. Now when anybody phones you and they block their phone number, it won't ring on your phone. Now here's a few little shortcuts that you should know about. So from the control center, you swipe down from the top right corner of the screen. There's some cool things you can do here. Did you know that the torch on the iPhone actually has different levels you can use? It's not just on or off. And the way you access this is by holding your finger down on the torch. And you can see we now have 4 levels. So level 1, level 2, level 3, and level 4. And I think that could be handy in some cases. Here's another little trick that you might not know about. You can access your camera and various things here. For example, take a selfie, record a video, take a portrait, and take a portrait selfie. Also, if you hold your finger down on the brightness bar, you can actually turn off your dark mode, your night shift, and the true tone if you want to. I like having dark mode on all the time because it saves battery, but sometimes I'm up late and I don't want the night shift on, so I can literally toggle that on and off manually whenever I want. And true tone kind of makes everything a bit too orange sometimes, so I tend to leave that off, but maybe sometimes want to turn it on. It's good to know I can do it that quickly. All right, here is the final tip, and maybe the most dangerous tip that I'm going to show you today. If anything bad happens from using this, don't blame me, don't shoot the messenger, blame Apple. So go to your settings. Here we're going to go to Control Center, and then in this little box down here, we're looking for hearing. We want to add that to the Control Center. Now, when we open the Control Center in the top right corner, we have this little ear here. If you go to this, what you can now do is connect a compatible audio device to use live listen. So essentially what you can do is connect earbuds to the iPhone, leave them in another room, and hear what's happening in that other room. So you're kind of secretly listening to people without them knowing. I do not condone this, nor do I encourage it, but this could be useful. And then there's some other cool stuff you can do here, which is pretty awesome. If you connect this up to some speakers, you can put background noises on, like water, bright noises, dark noises, ocean, rain, stream. So these kind of ambient noises are actually pre-programmed into the phone. But when it comes to adding an audio device to listen through, use that superpower wisely. So I hope you guys have learned something new from this video. If you did, let me know which tip was the most useful for you. If there's any other ones that I should have put in this video, let me know what they are in the comments below. Appreciate you guys. If you just subscribed, you're now one of the finest subscribers known to man. And I will see you in the next one, so don't be late.